You ever notice how you find yourself unhappy in relationships? You may go from relationship to relationship and it feels good for a period of time and then it slowly starts to decline. And I'm not just talking about the other person's part. They may suck, right? There are things that they're doing that makes them suck. But there's things that you're doing that are making you very unhappy in the relationship. So today I thought we would put focus on ourselves and things that we do that cause us to be unhappy in relationships. And that way you can better acknowledge and learn, like, okay, I'm doing these things and it's causing me to stay stuck in unhealthy and unhappy relationships. And when I'm doing these behaviors, that means that maybe this isn't a good relationship for me. Let's get into today's video. The first one is you don't accept them for who they are. Instead of going into the relationship and seeing what they offer you and what type of person they are and what they can provide for you, you see it as them being a potential project or someone that you could fix or correct, because based on the things they say they're trying to be this certain person or they're going to do these certain things, and they sell you a story rather than accepting who they are when they come into the relationship, because that's generally who people are when they come into a relationship. What you see is what you get. Do people change for the better? Yeah, absolutely, but it's not going to be drastic changes like they may sell you. So you may get disappointed time and time again, and you may try to do things to prevent yourself from feeling this disappointment. You will do things to carry the relationship on your back. You may overly reach out to them, so that way you don't have to deal with the fact that they don't reach out to you often. Or you may be the one that plans the dates, or you're the one who's initiating the intimacy. You're the one that's giving and doing all the things. So that way you can get a little something back, rather than seeing and letting them show you who they are, which is someone that doesn't initiate, or they don't show you that love. You're pushing the relationship further, and to stay in that relationship, the more you try to cover up their bad spots. And you also may constantly have conversation with them about things you want them to change, rather than seeing, okay, I've had this conversation one or two times, a few times, and they're not showing any action to change. They're just saying things. What am I going to do with this information now? Am I going to continue this relationship and trying to push them to be someone they're not? Or am I going to take this information and be like, they're not who I want them to be, and I need to cut my losses and leave. Overly doing things for your partner and giving to your partner is a way for you to protect yourself from the reality and the pain that they are not who you need them or want them to be. And I see this so often as a coach when I talk to my clients in their relationships. I say, you're carrying the relationship on your back. You're not seeing how much you're giving and how much you're not getting in this relationship, because you're not letting them show you how bad it actually is, and really feeling the weight of that disappointment because you don't accept it, and you won't accept who they actually are because you're holding on to the hope of who they could be and who you want them to be, out of that fear of being alone or the fear of never finding anyone. The next thing is you have self-doubt. You do not listen to yourself and your intuition and how you genuinely feel. We all have a little voice or a little feeling inside of us when something just doesn't feel right. But over time, we will ignore it and it will dim, but we'll still have those thoughts and ideas of doubting ourselves, or we don't listen to ourselves. And that especially happens when you're in unhealthy relationships where you have someone that constantly doubts you or tries to get you to doubt yourself. Like, oh, that's not what happened. Oh, are you sure I said that? Oh, I don't think that you're correct. Or, constantly not listening to you or the things you say, and making you doubt yourself and your perception and your reality. They may make you feel like you're crazy. They may make you feel like you can never be heard. You can never get a word in. They may make you feel like your ideas are stupid, or that you can't do things, or that you're incapable of being an independent person. without them. All these things that just constant doubt, and you will feel like you need to lean on either your partner or other people to be okay in the world. And so with this doubt, when you're in this relationship, things feel off, but you're doubting your perception of what you think. And so then there's a battle going on inside of you, and you're unhappy, but you're not entirely sure why, because you're doubting the things that are happening. You're doubting your reality. You're doubting that this person isn't right for you. The next one is you are afraid to confront them or bring things up to them. So over time, you may have seen when you bring things up to them or when you try to talk to them about something, it results in a big fight, or it results in them threatening to leave you, or just it seems like it's not worth it. And so you'll be very careful. You may avoid bringing things up to them, or you may lie about things like you're fine when you're really not, to just keep the peace. So that way you don't have to deal with them. Maybe they're very highly emotional and they don't know how to self-regulate. And it can be really stressful to deal with that. Or maybe they try to punish you in some sort of way, like they leave for days at a time, or they give you silent treatment, or whatever it is. And so then you will completely avoid trying to confront them about things, and you will brush things under the rug or pretend everything's fine when it's really not. And you can become afraid to speak up, and you will silence yourself. And over time, this will build resentment, and for you to be passive aggressive, or for you to maybe do things behind their back because of this fear of what will happen if you bring up these things. Things can't get stuffed down. It will come up in some sort of way. And it could come up with even anxiety or depression. So that can cause immense unhappiness, even though you're trying to keep the peace. It's never good to be in a relationship where you're trying to keep the peace and silencing yourself, so that way you don't have to deal with some sort of consequence. Do we always need to bring up each and every thing that bothers us? No, we don't. But there's things that obviously have to be talked about when you're in a relationship. And you should be heard and validated, and for things to be resolved in some sort of manner when you're in a healthy relationship. The next one is you are overly preoccupied with the relationship. So instead of focusing on yourself or your hobbies or your other relationships, you get so preoccupied with your relationship and trying to better it, or trying to maintain the peace, or trying to make sure they're happy. And when you're not in with this person, when you're at work or when you're out with others or whatever it is, you're still thinking about the relationship and things that are going wrong and what you can do better, and ways that you think that you're in the wrong, or things that you think they're doing wrong, and the conversations you need to have, and it's endless. And you're so preoccupied and putting so much energy in this relationship, you're missing out on things and opportunities in your life. You're not strengthening your other relationships. You're not doing really well at work. You're not progressing in your goals and your hobbies and other things that are going on. You're losing yourself because you're thinking about this other person and what you need to do to make this relationship work. Maybe things that you need to sacrifice, maybe doing more things, whatever it is. You're getting too preoccupied with this relationship, and it can cause a loss of sense of reality and yourself. In healthy relationship, there's a healthy balance of being able to work on the relationship and work on yourselves, but also being able to include other things in your life, your career, your goals, your hobbies, your family, your friendships, all of those things. You're able to include all of that. But when you're in a toxic and unhealthy relationship, it just becomes you and the other person in your own world, and it feels like you're just trying to survive. And that's how you know you're in a really bad situation, when it's just become you and them, and like you've lost a sense of reality, and the people around you don't treat you the same, and you don't recognize who you are when you look in the mirror anymore. And the last one is you are not yourself. So who you were at the very beginning when you introduce yourself to this person, you no longer are that person. You completely have become the person who they made you feel like you had to be in order to be accepted and liked. So every time they made a criticism or a harsh comment, you would take that in and try to change yourself immediately. And you now have become someone where they maybe more approve of you, and or maybe even not, because unhealthy people, they're always trying to find something that they don't like about you, but you're dealing with maybe less criticism about the things they originally criticized you about, but it's not you. And it's too much criticism where they just try to change you too much. Like in a partnership, it's always good to have a little bit of criticism, and they want to help you strengthen your weaknesses. But in unhealthy dynamics, they try to change you completely who you are, because they want to take your shine away, because they're miserable and they're coming from a low place. And so you notice you lose your shine. You're maybe less outgoing. You maybe are more sheltered. You maybe are not as ambitious. You notice the positive things are dimmed. You maybe aren't as positive or funny or care about your looks the way that you used to. And I don't mean in a shallow way. I mean like you put care into yourself and you love to take care of yourself, and now you notice you've let yourself go in not on a I'm comfortable in my relationship way, like I'm sad and unhappy and this person doesn't make me feel good type of way. Or maybe they made negative comments when you try to doll yourself up. You just notice you're not yourself and you don't feel like you can really truly be yourself, because there'll be some sort of mean comment or criticism. And like I said, criticism is healthy and important in healthy relationships, but it's the criticism is constructive where they want to help you better yourself rather than mold you into who they want you to be, so that way they feel better about themselves. It comes from a completely different place. So that's why it's super important that in any relationship you go in being yourself and you really think about the things that you would want to change if a criticism is brought up. You need to listen to yourself and that little voice inside of you when it's telling you something's wrong, and you need to accept the person that comes in. Whoever you choose to date and the way they come in, that's how they're gonna be. You know, you need to decide, do I accept and like this person for the way they're coming in? Because they may never change. Are you okay with that? If you're not okay with that, then don't further the relationship. Only be with someone if they make changes. It's a bonus, not a thing that's needed in order for you to be with that person. And that's what you can ask yourself. If they never changed, would I still love them and be okay with them and want to be with them? Does this person make me feel good? Does this person want me to improve? Does this person make me feel like I can speak up to them and confront them about things and I'm heard? So these are some things that you want to look out for, and especially with someone you date, you want to make sure that you can set healthy boundaries and they respect those boundaries. And they have to be reasonable boundaries, which is something we always talk about. And I'll leave a link right here if you're more interested in boundaries. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. That this person isn't... Oh, thank God, I just dropped something. I thought I woke my baby.